A lot of false media has been out there that, every kid is getting recruited. That is not true, right? So there
Mhm.
are so many kids on like teams and programs who weren't even on the radar of these programs, and they showed up and made a name for themselves, and now they became a household name, and everybody thinks that they were recruited, so I like wanted to showcase that you can get yourself to where you're trying to go if this is what you really want to do.
A plan B. My dad always told me it was important to have a plan B no matter what you wanted to do. Well, I speak to a gentleman who helps a lot of athletes, men and women who may not have got recruited. Well, he helps them get there through his RPA College program. He's also a motivational speaker. As he says, he's a sportspreneur. And that's the one and only Mr. Reggie Calhoun Jr. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited for you guys to hear this conversation because one, it is a black business owner who is doing a lot of great work to help athletes. He's using his platform of sports to motivate and give back. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's my conversation with Reggie Calhoun Jr. All right, ladies and gentlemen, on the line today, I am joined by, I'm going to call him a sportspreneur, business owner, athlete, and motivational speaker, the one and only Reggie Calhoun Jr. Reggie, how are you doing today?
Good, man. How about yourself, man?
I'm good, man. I gotta ask you, we're in the midst of a few pandemics right now, unfortunately, the racial pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. So how are you doing today?
Can't complain. I think been pretty, you know, revealing of like my strength and my talent. So it's been good, but it's been different trying to adjust in a new normal.
Yeah, man. These are some different times. I keep everybody in my prayers because you have a lot of conspiracies out there, but at the end of the day, people are dying. And that's the hard part. People are dying, people are losing their lives. That's why it's important for me to ask people, how are they doing? Because you just don't know.
Right. I appreciate that, man. That's definitely big. People are losing their lives. People are, being affected, in more than one way. So, whether you believe it's a hoax or not, it's it's affecting some people.
Absolutely. So I want to ask you, I know that you prepare athletes for life after football. So I got to ask you this question. When did you first fall in love with the sport?
Man, I was a kid, man. I was maybe 6 or 7. Saw Deion Sanders on TV. I thought it was super dope, like somebody on TV dancing, playing this game, and I wanted to get into it. And just the friends I made me like the game a lot because the friends you make, the connections, and just the experience of competing to win something, right? So I would say about 5 or 6, man. 5 or 6 is when I really started to like feel the impact of the game, and I just wanted to do it.
So Deion Sanders was your first favorite athlete?
Oh yeah, first favorite athlete, still one of my favorites. Was is he was a mentor. He's a friend of mine. So it was just kind of everything became full circle when you realize how small the sports world is. Your idol, you get to meet him and go to the Hall of Fame with him and stuff like that. It was just football is dope.
That's good. I love to hear those good stories. As a huge wrestling fan myself, I know that they always say it's not good to meet your heroes because sometimes they disappoint you. And to hear that about somebody like Prime, who I was a huge fan of, especially during his time with the Cowboys, and then he would later come to my hometown Ravens, I'm so glad to hear such a good story about Dion.
Yeah, man. You always wonder what it'll be like to meet somebody that you kind of idolize, I guess. And one thing he showed me was he was just a regular person, and it showed me that yeah, he is a superstar, he's a celebrity, but off the field, off the cameras, he's just a regular person like myself, and that just inspired me to know that it's not that far off to achieve what you really want to achieve because the person you were inspired by is like right here.
All right, so you played football all throughout high school and through college. Can you tell me what was your best moments on the field?
Man, so I have multiple moments because I played in four different states.
Okay.
So
Wow.
yeah, I went to four high schools in four states, and it was just one of those things where every state I went to, the game was so different. Although it was 100 yards, it was the atmosphere was different. You go from Louisiana to Illinois, and then to Texas, and then Mississippi, and it's like, man, football is taken and perceived so differently in all these places. But some of my most memorable moments were just hanging out with guys who I had never met before, and we all created this bond because of a game, and those are like lifelong friends that I have.
So did that make the transition going from state to state easier being an athlete as opposed to just going from state to state and going straight to the classroom?
Yes, because you show up in the summer, you're the new guy, but you're the new guy and you're on a team. So by the time school starts, everybody on the team has already like met you, they know you, so they're introducing you to their friends. So you don't lack the friendship circles, you don't like the invites to parties and whatnot. So for me, sports kind of eased the transition of coming from state to state, team to team, city to city. And for me, it just made my network of people bigger and bigger every state I went to due to playing on a team of people that's doing like what I was doing.
So when you went to high school, were you in a state you had been in for a while or were you in a brand new state?
I was in a brand new state my freshman year. I was in Illinois. So I went from Louisiana to the Midwest freshman year, and it was just different. It was like during the Nelly era, and it was just crazy, right? So yeah, my first time in high school was in Illinois.
Now, while you were there, how was football in the Midwest? Like, I'm in Baltimore, and football is Friday night football is one thing, but it's not the way it is in the South. Not even in Virginia. Shout out to my boy Glenn Thomas. I know, do not call him on a Friday night during the football season because he's in the midst of games and planning. So if I got really something to talk to him about, I don't call him until midnight. So and then we hear about football in the South, the Texases and the Carolinas. But what is football like in a state like Illinois?
It kind of gave me a false sense of sports because I went from playing middle school ball, backyard ball with guys we were just starting like develop like a physical attributes. And when I transitioned from Louisiana to Illinois, I was one of the best athletes on the team, in the district, in the region. And I was like a superstar my freshman year. I'm on varsity. Then I leave and I move to Texas, and it's completely different. It's super serious. Everybody's fast. Everybody's bigger than me. Like I was like 5'5", 115, in high school. But in Illinois, I was pretty big. But when I moved to Texas, I'm a little runt. So, I experienced high school football backwards. I'm from the South, but I went varsity in the Midwest and then transitioned back to the South. So for me, it was like, oh, the South really got athletes. It's serious. You got to pick it up, eat a little more, lift a little more, run some more, and trying to get hit by these big guys who've been doing this for the last 15 years.
So what was the recruiting process like? I mean, you're talking about four different schools, and for many that seems like a nightmare, but for you, four different schools seemed like a wonderful experience because of your network. But when it comes to trying to get recruited for college and gathering highlight films, what was that like for you?
I didn't have one because I didn't have aspirations of getting recruited. I didn't even know about it, right? So I'm just living in the moment, playing on these teams, just trying to make the team where I'm at. So I didn't know about, getting college letters or a recruiter coming into the office and want to meet with you and stuff like that. I was just playing on my high school team. So I didn't know how the college recruiting thing worked. I liked Miami. Like I'm a Miami Hurricanes fan. So I went to their camp just because I liked the school, not because I was trying to get seen by Larry Coker to get recruited. I just went to the camp just because I like the youth, right?
Yeah.
So when I started like getting into it after high school, I'm seeing dudes were getting recruited since their freshman year, sophomore year, and I'm like, man, I ain't never have that ever.
Wow. Okay. So now, you did play college ball. You went to Louisiana College, correct?
Yes.
And what was that process like? And just transitioning from high school to college.
Man, my process was funny, right?
Uh,
So I graduated high school, which my senior year in high school was Hurricane Katrina's year. So I went back to Houston, went back to Louisiana, graduated high school, went to Prairie View, left there, joined the Army. Then from the Army, I went JUCO, and then I became self-recruited. Like I found Louisiana College on my own on Google, and I said I want to go back home. I can get into this school. I just self-enrolled, and I pretty much walked on and tried out, and earned a spot, and broke records, and left.
oh wow. Now, when did you? I mean, obviously, you talked about going to the Army, but so you didn't, have that, like you said, traditional going right to college football. But when did you start planning for life after football?
Man, believe it or not, I didn't plan. It just
Okay.
happened, right?
Okay.
So it was like it football ended,
Uh-huh.
and that was it. So it was like, okay, what do you do now? You know, you have this degree, you move to this new state, you move to this new city to start a life, but you don't even have a real plan. You don't know how to use your degree. So I figured it out as I was going. So I was just like meeting people, using the same tactics that I was using when I was transitioning from high school to high school, just meeting new friends. I was doing that, trying to get new jobs or new contracts or deals or whatever, just kind of getting in the mix. And everything evolved as I kept going.
Okay. So when did you decide to get into the consulting business?
When I when I just like I sat down one day and I started just tapping into what I've been doing my whole life.
Hmm.
So when I was at Louisiana College, I recruited over like 8 of my friends to come to school with me. So I'm working with them to get to school. I'm learning all the rules and I'm guiding them through. And when I got to Dallas, I started just working with high school athletes, telling them, hey, this is how it works. I once didn't get recruited too, so I know how these things work and it's how the game goes. And that became just something that I was doing. And then parents would call me to come over and talk to their kids about recruiting process and and how college works and how it looks and what they expect. And then it just turned into a business, on its own. I had I had no idea what a consultant was. I was just consulting.
Yeah. So did you know, like, so I guess to say, when did you get in? Did you go to like a former high school that you went to, or did you know somebody? You just started going, or like, how did that come about as far
Man,
as you?
I graduated high school and I moved to Dallas.
Okay.
I had no like affiliations with the area,
Hmm.
and just kind of started marketing myself in gyms. And then my little brother he lives here. He was in high school then, so I'm reaching out to him and his friends, and then his friends told their friends, and then it just kind of built off of me just working with my little brother who was going through the recruiting process as a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. So his network became mine, and I literally took the exact concept that I was doing, just meeting new people, and always the new guy. So I'm the
Hmm.
new guy. I tap into people I've met, and it blew up into a situation where everybody wanted me to come and talk to them about what was it like to not be recruited. Because in Dallas, everybody wants to get recruited, and if they don't, it's kind of like, well, I'm done.
Yeah. So what? I guess to say you that's a kind of giving kids and, well, I should say students, that second hope that, hey, if you're not recruited, there's still a way.
Yeah, yeah, man. Because a lot of false media has been out there that every kid is getting recruited. That is not true, right? So there
Mhm.
are so many kids on like teams and programs who weren't even on the radar of these programs, and they showed up and made a name for themselves, and now they became a household name, and everybody thinks that they are. they were recruited, so I like wanted to showcase that you can get yourself to where you're trying to go if this is what you really want to do.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing, man. And my dad always so my dad was a truck driver. And when you middle school and you love sports, you think you're gonna be an athlete. And people who know me may laugh, they hear me say this, but in 8th grade, I wanted to be a basketball player. And he always told me, "What's your plan B? What's your plan B?" And I was like, huh? And so that's when it was around that time I said, well, if I don't play sports, I want to write about it and talk about it. And so being able to I was always instructed to me to have a plan B down the line. So um but as somebody, for the people that did play, I do know I see a lot of times people are not sure what happens with life after leaving the sport. And I bring that up because I know you have the RPA College. When did that come about as far as creating that? Because I really think that's important as far as the structure. So when did you decide it was time to create RPA College?
Well, 2015, I had the idea, and
Mhm.
then I sat on it for a while, waiting on the right moment, and it never became the right moment. So for me, 2017, I just did it, right? I said I'm gonna go and recruit kids. I know how to recruit. I know how to talk to people. Hey, do you want to play for me? I had friends who I played with who were coaches, so I was able to get games, and it was simply just a football team, and it wasn't a program, it wasn't a school, it was just a football team that was trying to give kids hope, which turned into an academy, which eventually evolved into a college. So for me, 2017 was the official season, but I've always been working with kids on the mentor side, you know, for years, right? And for RPA to be the second chance hope for young athletes, whether you're in football, basketball, male, female, whatever. My goal was to just share the knowledge that I have using the platform of sports.
Okay, so now with that, is this so? Do you said that it's first just football, but so what is everything that RPA offers? As far as the curriculum, the athletics, and everything.
Right. So you get a full college experience. So you
Mhm.
get college credits. You actually take college courses. You're in college classes. You're on a college campus. You're in college dorms. You live the college life. However, RPA takes care of all of the sports aspect and all the mentorship and all of the travel and all of the things that you came here to do, but you're going to get a full college experience, whether it's the competition level or even just the scheduling of classes, workouts, training, travel, gameplay.
Okay, and what as far as the study, what courses do you offer? Like, what can people major in?
So we try not to focus on a major, being
Okay.
that thing it's their freshman year. So all of our guys and come in and they'll take their basics, like freshman year classes, basic classes, your math, your Englishes, your sciences, and all those things too. But they can get an associate's if they wanted to. They can major in business, they can major in IT, they can major in general studies. So we have the full gambit of majors
Mhm.
um, due to our relationship with the university. So you'll get university major and access, but we don't try to have them pick a major just yet. We want to teach them how to pick a major.
Oh, okay. So it's just really like a 1 year school.
Yes, so it can be 1 year,
Mhm.
and then based on reevaluation, they can stay for 2 years, and then it can grow from there based on what they need and what they're doing. And it's not just they come here hope to get looks by school and transition. If you're not being looked at or you're not hitting those educational pinnacle points, we can keep you here for another year to kind of boost you up a little bit more academically and help you find out where you're trying to go.
Okay. And do you have any success stories that you would love to share about that, or perhaps some athletes that people may know about or will know about?
Yeah, man. So our success stories are based on life transitions, right? So my very, very first recruit, the first guy to get noticed by college, the first guy who came here and didn't have any attention in high school, he's actually one of my partners now. So he actually founded his own company. He does all of my media. He does all my graphics, my photos, the websites, and he's running a full business. He's 21, and he came through RPA 2017. He started working with us like day one, just using his creativity to create logos and pictures and whatnot. So his success story is there. We got a slew of guys who transferred over to different four-year universities. We got one who became a nurse. We have a guy who wanted to be a coach. He's actually on staff. So we try to ask them and like guide them on what they want, and then provide that through our platform and our networks.
That's awesome, man. What is, when you look at everything, I always ask everybody this question. When you look back over your career, and obviously you have so much stuff ahead of you, but when will you say you broke through the glass ceiling as far as understanding you're living your life purpose and you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do and you're good at it?
Right. Man, when I completed the first season, so you go from simply just having an idea that you put it in a city where it wasn't received, but you start recruiting nationally, and I knew I had something that was dope. It was effective. It was needed. And when I completed the first season, I knew this was going to be the thing that ties everything that I've done my whole life up until that point. This is what I was going to be doing.
Wow, that's amazing, man. Man, can you let the people know where they can find you, where they can find out more information about RPA College?
Yeah, man. So, myself, my website, ReggieCalhounJr.com. RPA site is rpacollege.org. And both of those provide a gambit of information on us. My social media is the exact same as Reggie Calhoun Jr. on everything. And then RPA Wildcats is our Twitter handle, Instagram handle as well. So we try to be as thorough with the information, but a lot of things that we like to do is talk to parents and families one-on-one to find out exactly what their athlete needs.
Okay. And you do, you guys talk to classes and stuff?
Say it again?
I said, do you talk to middle schools and high schools as well?
Oh, yeah. So we go and speak. Well, I go and speak at middle schools, high schools, youth teams, whoever we can get in front of early, because all the RPA is based on and working with the high school graduates. We feel that if we can catch them early, we won't have such a big pool of the I don't know what to do group if they know some things early on.
That's awesome. Reggie, I appreciate you taking the time out your busy schedule, man, to come on, break it through glass ceilings and discuss RPA College as well as discussing your career, man.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, no problem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this week's episode. I hope you really enjoy this conversation. One of the things I love about doing this show, like I said, just getting to meet new people. And this was my first time meeting Reggie. So shout out to Christian who put us together. So make sure you check him out, follow and subscribe to his platforms. And while you're at it, make sure you subscribe to Breaking Through Glass Ceilings. Next week, I am excited to bring on a longtime friend of mine. That is the one and only Miss Alexandria Gibilisco. She comes from ESPN before Brian H. Waters went to ESPN after leaving Morgan State. It was Alexandria. So you guys are going to get to hear the story, including why she left. So make sure you subscribe and tune in next week. Folks, remember, do not let anyone set up a glass ceiling you can't break through. This podcast was recorded and edited by B Waters Productions. The music by Hypno Beats. Make sure you follow him at Hypno_Beats with a Z on Instagram.